Hey there viewers, thank you for tuning in to Supermariodiagnostics once again. Today we have a 2008 Jeep Wrangler with a 3.8 liter engine in it, and it is a very long crank concern. Eventually it runs, and it does run smoothly. I will recreate the symptom pretty soon, but for now we're just going to do a quick pre-scan and see what's going on. This came from another shop, and that shop has put two dealer crank sensors on it, and to no avail. And we're just gonna see what codes it has, see if they're headed the right direction. And I've got my pre-scan right here. Let's go ahead and scroll down. Wait, I passed way too fast. I'm so used to like Europeans, it has like a ton of modules, so you kind of have to like scroll down more. But we have a P0339 crankshaft position intermittent. It doesn't say whether it's performance or if it's circuits. Let's look up service information, see what may cause this particular code. Usually I'm used to seeing 335, a P0335 if I'm not mistaken, for a crankshaft position sensor issue, but since it's an intermittent code, it is different. It's a P0339. Let's go ahead and look into it. We're not going to assume that, we're not going to throw a sensor at it. That's already been done. You could go to any AutoZone, they'll pull a code for you, and they'll throw a sensor at it. That's not diagnosed. That's not what we're doing here. We're going to find out what's going on with this car. Let's look at service information first, though. Oh, hold on. I almost forgot. Let's recreate the symptom. Extremely long crank, and it runs smoothly afterwards. Bit of a high idle, but that's probably just the usual first start of the morning. Had to tow it in because for some reason it doesn't go into neutral or drive or anything. So let's look at service information, stick to the plan, and see what we find out. Alright, so we have our service information pulled up according to the VIN number. Let's go to diagrams. I'm used to going to diagrams for everything first. What I really need to see is what that P0339 shows, whether it is a circuit or performance issue. Position sensor still doesn't say. Let's see. CKP failure counter reaches 20, one trip fault. Possible causes. It looks like it's a bunch of anything could cause it, really. It could be a wiring issue. It could be the sensor itself. It could be a tone wheel pulse ring issue, or the PCM itself. I'm just gonna scroll down. Oh, wow! I am surprised. I like to see that right there. Check for DTCs first. See if they stay active. Use a lab scope. I was gonna go for that anyway, because that's usually what I do. Wiring harness inspection. You would think that they would want you to check the harness first. Check for shorts. Check for the flex plate inspection. Check the camshaft position sensor. Wow, so the camshaft position sensor, it says an intermittent condition in the cam position sensor can cause the P0339. So yes, let's not assume that it just applies to a CKP. Check short to voltage. Check short to open circuit, short to ground. You get the point. So I'm going to hook up a scope to both the camshaft position sensor and the crankshaft position sensor. That way, kill two birds with one stone. We don't know if a timing issue could cause this code. I really doubt it, but you never know. And with looking at the signal, we'll be able to see what's the low reference look like and what the high reference looks like. With the correlation all in one shot, kill three birds with one stone in a way that is checking for supplies. Because if you have a stuck to ground, maybe you have an open 5-volt reference. If it's stuck to 5 volts, maybe it's an open signal or it's an open ground. So things like that. You can see all of it just by hooking up to one wire per sensor and cranking the car. So super easy enough. Let's gain access to these sensors and go on from there. Alright, so I got my channel B, which is red, hooked to my signal wire to the camshaft position sensor. Let's go ahead and hook up to the crank position sensor. So there's our crank sensor, and Yeah, they redid the wiring. This is the second crank sensor installed, still no fix. I'm hooked up to the signal wire, and let's go ahead and get a capture on this thing. Oh, you know what? I'm kind of curious as to what's going on with the shift linkage. I know it's somewhere in this area. And yeah, I think we found out what's going on with our shift linkage. Hold on. Freaking cameras. The shoe tie method has failed. I wish I could get my camera closer, but it is a hard shot to get with this giant camera here. There it goes. And for some reason it doesn't want to focus well, but yeah, instead of replacing the bushing, somebody put a shoe tie. I guess it's great in a pinch, but we're gonna have to address that as well. Anywho, I'm not gonna assume it was the shop, because I know that no shop worth their salt would put a shoe tie in there. That must have been something that the customer did, like in an emergency event out on the road. So we're gonna have to let them know, remind them that that was just an emergency fix. It wasn't supposed to be a permanent fix. So let's go ahead and capture this waveform and see what we find. All right, let's get back into the car. I got the Pico running with the video recorder set up. Let's go ahead and crank this thing. If I can find the key. That should give us plenty info. It started, but regardless, I think that will give us the information we need. It could be anything at this point. Yeah, we're checking out the sensor, and if I need to, I will check it at the PCM, but let's see what's at the sensor first. It could be a supply issue, for all we know. I've got a signal on both of them, quite a bit noisy, but let's see. And of course, we need a known good in order to compare. I was able to locate one thanks to Ray. I always screw up his last name. I've got the known good here somewhere. Ray Yao. I hope I got your name right. If you're watching by some miracle, huge thanks, man. You are a huge aid to our industry. This gentleman is kind enough to share his known goods. Like, he has like the known goods to like every car. It's incredible. But thanks to him, we were able to find through the Automotive Waveform Exchange site a known good waveform. So that is what we are comparing to. We can see our cam sensor has a 1, 2, 3 design, and we have one down, a bunch of pulses, and then one notch up, and then a bunch of pulses, and we return to this. So that is what we're expecting to see. Let's go ahead and see if we have that. In our case here, we can see where the engine started. Let's see where the engine started. Maybe it's good. All right, call it. I know some of you already know what it is. Which one is the camshaft position sensor? Red or blue? I'm gonna arrange this in a way that I like it. The camshaft position sensor is red, fellas. It's got the 1, 2, 3 design. 1 notch, 2 notches, 3 notches, 2, 1. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. And then the crankshaft position sensor has too many notches. We've got too many notches, and it looks extremely repetitive. 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we got another 1, 2 down, 1, 2 up, and then another 1, 2 down, 1, 2 up. What is it? This video is not to show you what the problem is. This video is to show you how to research the code setting criteria and diagnose this thing, troubleshoot this thing. And man, I'm glad GM said to use a lap scope, because of moments like this. This is a messed up flex plate. There's a tooth or two. Somebody screwed up on this, or yeah, somebody screwed up. There's no other way. I don't see another way. Or maybe something got into the bell housing. I don't know. I don't see another way other than somebody either prying on it or jamming something into it, and it got screwed up. Sometimes it happens. I don't know if it was man-made, but It's hard to believe that there's any other way that this can be caused. But I know you guys are going to want to see a visual. Let's get a visual. Let's take off the crank sensor. Hopefully we could get good camera access to it. Now, of course, goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. Yes, we see a bad signal. We see a bad flex plate. But I wouldn't close the door on any other possibilities. Am I 99% sure that this will fix it? Absolutely. But there is always a 1% of something else happening. A wiring issue, a pin fitment issue, a PCM issue. But we have to go based on the evidence. We have to start with this, the most obvious thing, low-hanging fruit, just like Brandon Steckler would say, and then go from there. You don't just, if there was a way for me to simulate a signal in order to rule out any other issues, I would. But I can't do that in this case, so the only thing I can do is get the signal correct, and once we have good inputs into the PCM, then we could deal with the outcome. But at this point, like in any diagnosis situation, you would be mistaken to just close the door on any other possibility. Like that's been something that's happening in our industry way too much. Oh, this is it, 100%. Nothing else. You won't need anything else. This is final diagnosis. No. We present it to the customer as we conducted our testing. This is our results. We have to start by rectifying this signal issue, and then we'll find out how the car runs afterwards, because we don't know if a fuel pump is bad on this thing. We don't know how long it's been sitting. We don't know what kind of work has been done to it. And quite frankly, it's a possibility. It's not like it's a brand new car. This is a 2008. There's been at least 10, 15 technicians working on this thing at some point. I don't know if you guys saw, but like it has a new water pump. It has a bunch of new stuff. Like it has a lot of work done to it. So there's always possibilities. And I'm not saying that other shops are prone to screwing things up, but I would say you would be mistaken to just say that's it. This is it, 100%, and nothing else. Always keep that door open, because you shoot yourself in the foot if you just close the door to a possibility of any other thing being wrong with this car. And yeah, that's a rant almost over. I got one more thing I gotta say, and I've said it in many other videos. But if the general public is miraculously watching this and you made it up to this point, this goes to show that equipment is needed, testing equipment is needed, and a troubleshooting process is needed in order to diagnose a simple sensor code, a code that just says, oh, it's a CKP sensor, intermittent. We saw new wiring, we saw 2 dealer sensors, and the shop thankfully brought it to us so that we can diagnose it. And sometimes a lot of people will call this easy, but with experience it comes the facilitation of this kind of work. But to a lot of people, this is hard stuff. Just knowing which one is what's a reference circuit, how does it relate to a ground circuit through the signal, like a Hall effect sensor. This stuff can be hard for some people. So I'm hoping that a lot of people will learn from this as well, how cars receive information and act accordingly. This thing, thanks to this, it was a long crank, and eventually it ran smooth. So what's the strategy there? Is it ignoring something? Is it substituting a signal? It makes you want to think about these kind of things. But anywho, point I was trying to make on my rant was, don't expect to just throw a code reader on a car. Even a Jeep is a simple car. It only has 5-6 modules in it. It's a simple car compared to a lot of the stuff that we work on here. And this just goes to show you can't just walk into a place and have somebody replace a sensor because you think that's going to fix the car. Those days are over. Stop it already. Go pay a professional to fix the issue. Go find somebody who knows what they're doing and have them troubleshoot it for you. If I could give you any piece of advice, it would be when you ask a question or when you have an issue, or you jump on the forums, or you ask people, think about what they're telling you. Are they telling you, replace this? Oh no, that's timing. Replace this, do this, change this. Or are they telling you, check this, test this, have you researched this, have you looked at the diagrams? that will tell you what kind of technician they are or what kind of help you're receiving. Be sure to take the advice of those who tell you to check this, test this, research this, look into this, instead of replace this, change this part, you know, things of that nature. Stick to testing, checking before replacing. Rant over. Alright, so I've removed the sensor and it is tucked. Let me see if I could show you guys. Tucked way down there. If you guys can see that opening. And stuck a borescope in there, and you can see the damage that has been done. Yeah, it could be a bolt in there. I didn't hear anything when the engine was running. It could be man-made. Maybe somebody went Hulk on it. There is a plate here that we can remove in order to see if there's a bolt coming around. But you know what? The way I see it is this thing needs to come apart anyway. That flex plate, the damage is done. Flex plate needs to be replaced. Why try to do all of that? And they might even decline the repair. So I think we've seen enough to make a confident call on the flex plate. And if there is something in there, we'll see it. We'll find out what it is and let the shop know what we find. If it's a bolt or if it's a tooth, starter tooth, but there's a new starter on there. We'll just see. I'm not too worried about it, to be honest with you. Maybe this thing's been apart and they were a bit careless as to how they put it back together. Let the flex plate hit everything on the way, like once they were putting the transmission and the engine back together. Who knows? I don't know what they've done to and I'm not talking about this one shop that sent it to us. I'm talking about, like, I don't know what's been done in general to this vehicle by anybody, you know. I don't know who's worked on it. So we're just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna remove that plate and try to see if there's a bolt in there or something like that. We're gonna see if we get an approval for disassembly, and then if we do, then we'll go ahead and finish this video off that way. And if not, then it'll be sayonara for now. So just in case, thank you all for watching, and appreciate all of you for taking the time. And be sure to hit that like button if you like what you see. If you don't, that's okay. Somebody will. And leave a comment. What did I miss? What did I forget? I know I always forget something. Be sure to remind me in the comment section. And thank you. Till next time.